What happens when a Hollywood superstar sets the record straight live on national television? Make sure to subscribe to the Star Talks and like and comment for more talk show coverage. Sunny Hostin leans forward, her eyes bright with curiosity and a hint of challenge. Matt, your new film has been getting a lot of buzz, but there's been some chatter about the onset dynamics, specifically about that scene where, she pauses, glancing at her co-hosts, where you allegedly clashed with your co-star. Can you tell us what really happened? Matt Damon takes a breath, his calm demeanor contrasting with the tension in the studio. Actually, Sunny, that's not what happened. The audience murmurs, a ripple of surprise passing through the studio. Whoopi Goldberg raises her eyebrows. Oh, do tell, Matt. Well, Matt continues, there's been a narrative floating around that we had a major disagreement on set and that I walked off because of creative differences. But the truth is, we discussed the scene multiple times, and what was reported just didn't happen. There was no walk-off, no argument beyond normal professional discussion. Joy Behar interjects, leaning on the desk with a skeptical smile. Matt, the source I read said that it was a very tense day. People were saying you were upset, that there was shouting involved. Are you saying that's completely false? Matt nods, his voice steady but firm. Exactly. Completely false. I respect my co-stars and the crew too much to act unprofessionally like that. What was reported was exaggerated and taken out of context. Sunny tilts her head, sensing a moment of drama. So, Matt, you're basically correcting the record here. But why do you think this narrative even got out there in the first place? Matt glances briefly at the audience, then back at the hosts. Honestly, I think in Hollywood, stories evolve quickly. One misunderstanding gets magnified, and suddenly it's headline news. But it's important to separate fact from fiction, especially when it affects people's reputations. Whoopi leans back, smirking. Matt Damon schooling the media live on the Star Talks. Never thought I'd see the day. Laughter ripples through the audience, but Joy isn't letting it slide. Come on, Whoopi. Matt, I get that you want to protect your co-stars and the truth, but some people argue that even small disagreements count as tension. Isn't there a chance things got heated, even just a little? Matt smiles faintly, but his tone is unwavering. There's always discussion on set, that's normal. But heated? No. There was professionalism all the way. I think that's the part people overlook when they hear rumors. They forget that sometimes a passionate discussion is just that, not a fight. Sunny nods slowly, as if weighing his words carefully. Okay, I hear that. But I also think there's an underlying curiosity from the audience about how stars really interact. So let's dig into that a bit. Was there a moment when the scene almost didn't work out? Matt laughs softly. Every scene has challenges. You adjust angles, lines, timing. But that's just part of making a movie. Nothing dramatic beyond the normal challenges of production. Joy smirks, almost teasing now. So you're saying there's no Matt Damon walks off set moment for the tabloids to feast on? Exactly, Matt replies, shaking his head. No dramatics. It's just a normal day of shooting. The thing is, the narrative of a clash makes for a more exciting story than two professionals solved a scene together. So the exaggerated story spreads faster. The audience laughs and applauds, clearly enjoying the rare moment of a celebrity correcting public perception live. Whoopi leans forward, clearly intrigued. So you're saying Hollywood gossip often paints a different picture than reality. Is this a common experience for you, Matt? Matt nods earnestly. Unfortunately, yes. It's why I think conversations like this are important. People assume the worst, and it spreads before anyone checks the facts. I'm just glad I have the chance to set the record straight. Sunny smiles, her tone gentle but probing. I can appreciate that, Matt. But let's switch gears a little. How did this experience affect your approach to your co-stars on future projects? Did it change the way you interact with cast members? Matt leans in, his demeanor softening. It reinforced the importance of communication. I've always believed in honesty and clarity on set. But I also realized how much responsibility we have to not let misunderstandings escalate and to correct them when necessary. Respect and professionalism always come first. Joy shifts in her seat, her curiosity piqued. So this is a teachable moment, then? For actors, for the media, for fans. Exactly, Matt says. It's a reminder that stories aren't always what they seem. And that's why I'm here, talking to you guys, sharing my side of the story. The truth matters, even in Hollywood. Whoopi chuckles, shaking her head. I like this. Matt Damon, truth warrior. Didn't see that coming on a Tuesday morning. The audience bursts into laughter, clapping enthusiastically. Sunny smiles, sensing the perfect moment to deepen the discussion. All right, Matt, let's get into the specifics of that scene everyone's been talking about. There's been talk about tension between your character and your co-stars. How did you approach it to make it authentic without letting personal feelings interfere? Matt's tone becomes thoughtful, measured. Well, the key is separating your personal emotions from your character's journey. Acting is about empathy and understanding, not letting rumors or outside pressure dictate how you perform. We rehearsed, we discussed motivations, and we executed the scene together. That's the reality. No theatrics, no drama off-screen. Joy leans forward again, intrigued. So, no shouting, no walking off, no dramatic gestures for effect. Just good old-fashioned professionalism. Matt smiles, almost wryly. Exactly. It's not as glamorous as the stories suggest, but it's real. Sunny nods, turning to the camera with a knowing smile. And there you have it, folks. Matt Damon setting the record straight live, right here on the Star Talks. The truth might not be as juicy as gossip, but it's definitely refreshing. The audience applauds again, a mixture of appreciation and relief filling the studio. Whoopi leans back, grinning. I don't know about you guys, but I love a celebrity who tells it like it is. No frills, no drama. Matt chuckles softly, giving a small wave to the audience. Thanks, Whoopi. I think honesty is always worth it. Joy shakes her head, still smiling, but with a glint of challenge in her eyes. Well, Matt, I guess we'll be fact-checking our sources more carefully from now on. Sunny laughs, wrapping the segment. And that's exactly why you tune in to the Star Talks, getting the real story straight from the source. Stay tuned, because after the break, we're diving deeper into Hollywood truths you won't hear anywhere else. The camera pans over the clapping audience as the hosts share brief chuckles with Matt Damon, signaling the end of the first explosive segment. The tension, curiosity, and clarity Matt brought to the table set the stage for a deeper, more revealing conversation in the next segment. Sunny Hostin comes back from the break, her energy high and a little sharper now. Welcome back to the Star Talks, everyone. Before the break, Matt Damon set the record straight about those onset rumors. Now we're going deeper. Matt, I want to pick up where we left off. You mentioned professionalism, but Hollywood is full of egos. How do you handle moments when a co-star or even a director challenges your vision? Matt leans forward slightly, his tone calm but firm. It's always about communication. Everyone has an opinion, and everyone wants the best for the project. I try to listen, offer my perspective, and find a middle ground. Acting and filmmaking are collaborative. If you approach it as a team effort, most conflicts are just part of problem solving, not personal attacks. Joy Behar, not missing a beat, raises an eyebrow. So you're saying even when someone is being difficult, or at least rumored to be difficult, you just talk it out? Yes, Matt confirms, because at the end of the day, the story matters more than any ego. And honestly, I think the media tends to frame every disagreement as a scandal. Whoopi chuckles. Tell me about it. Sometimes a heated chat over lunch becomes a headline about a full-blown feud. Hollywood loves a fight. The audience laughs, a few clapping in agreement. Sunny nods, turning serious again. Matt, let's be real. Even if the media blows things out of proportion, there must be moments where tempers flare. Has there ever been a time on set where you felt yourself getting frustrated? Matt considers this for a moment, then nods. Of course. You're human. Sometimes a scene isn't working, or a take doesn't land the way you envisioned. But frustration doesn't equal unprofessionalism. It's about channeling that energy into improving the scene, not letting it become a headline. Joy smirks, leaning in slightly. But Matt, I've read stories about actors being impossible when a scene doesn't go right. Doesn't that happen sometimes? Matt smiles politely but shakes his head. Not for me. I respect my co-stars, the crew, and the director too much to throw tantrums. I've seen that happen, sure, but it's not the standard, and it's certainly not what happened in the situation everyone's been talking about. Sunny jumps in, sensing the tension in Joy's challenge. Matt, I think the audience wants to know, what actually went down in that scene? Let's break it down for them. How did you and your co-star approach it, and why do you think the rumor even started? Matt takes a breath. Well, the scene required a lot of emotional intensity. My co-star and I went through several rehearsals to get the timing and delivery right. A couple of takes didn't work, and the director asked for adjustments. That's normal. Somehow, someone interpreted that as an argument or walk-off. It's just a misrepresentation of normal, collaborative work. Whoopi leans back, smiling at the audience. And there you have it. Two adults doing their jobs, and the rumor mill turns it into drama. Classic Hollywood. The audience laughs again, some cheering in agreement. Joy, not one to let go, presses further. Matt, you said it was all normal. But when people are reporting these exaggerated stories, do you ever feel like you need to overcorrect? To really hammer home the truth so the public isn't misled? Yes, Matt admits, nodding. Sometimes it's necessary to speak up. Silence can let misinformation spread. But I try to do it respectfully, without attacking anyone. It's about clarifying facts, not fueling a new narrative. Sonny smiles, clearly impressed with his composure. That's fair. And I think it's refreshing to see a celebrity speak so candidly. But let's talk about the role of social media in all this. Did seeing those rumors online affect you personally? Matt sighs, leaning back slightly. Honestly, it's exhausting at times. Social media amplifies everything. One misinterpreted moment can turn into a headline that millions see. But you learn to take it with a grain of salt and focus on the reality, not the version circulating online. Joy tilts her head. And that reality is what you're giving us today. But do you ever get frustrated that the public might believe a sensationalized version over what actually happened? Matt nods slowly. Of course. It's frustrating. But that's why conversations like this are important. Talking openly, giving context, explaining what really happened, it matters. I can't control every rumor, but I can share my side honestly. Sonny, leaning forward with intensity, presses on. Matt, let's dig even deeper. How do you keep your cool on set when a scene isn't going right and everyone else seems tense? Do you have a strategy for maintaining professionalism under pressure? Matt smiles faintly, like he's been asked this 100 times. Patience and perspective. Take a step back, breathe, and remember what the goal is, the story. Not ego, not headlines, not who's right or wrong. Just focus on making the scene work. Whoopi chuckles, clearly enjoying the insight. Patience and perspective. Maybe we all need that in our daily lives, not just on set. Especially when the rumor mill starts spinning. The audience laughs again, some nodding in agreement. Sonny turns to Matt with a sly smile. Okay, so let's address the elephant in the room. You've corrected the record. You've talked about professionalism. But how do you deal with the media itself when they misreport? Do you reach out directly, or just let the record speak for itself? Matt's expression becomes thoughtful. I try to clarify publicly when necessary, like here. Sometimes reaching out privately helps, but often it's better to address it openly, so there's no misunderstanding. Transparency is key. And honestly, I'd rather focus on my work than spend energy chasing stories. But when stories affect reputations, it's important to respond. Joy leans back, crossing her arms with a slight smile. So the moral of the story is, don't believe everything you read. And sometimes the person you think is causing drama is just doing their job professionally. Matt nods. Exactly. And I think that's a lesson beyond Hollywood. It's about separating rumor from reality and giving people the benefit of context before assuming the worst. Sonny turns to the camera, her tone excited. And there you have it, folks. Matt Damon opening up about onset realities, the truth behind the headlines, and how professionalism can survive even the wildest rumors. Stay with us, because after the break, we're going to get into some behind-the-scenes stories that might just surprise you. The audience applauds again, the energy in the studio a mix of curiosity and excitement. Whoopi leans toward Matt, whispering with a grin. You're making everyone look bad with your calmness, you know that, right? Matt chuckles quietly, shaking his head. Just trying to keep it real, Whoopi. The camera pans across the audience as laughter and chatter fill the studio, setting the stage for the next round of revelations and escalating intensity in the conversation. Sonny Hostin returns from the commercial break, the studio buzzing with energy. Welcome back to the Star Talks. If you've just joined us, Matt Damon has been setting the record straight about those on-set rumors. Now it's time to dig even deeper. Matt, let's talk about how these kinds of stories spread so quickly. Is it frustrating when a single moment gets blown out of proportion? Matt nods, his tone measured. Absolutely. A lot of times, one small thing gets exaggerated into a full-blown story. It's frustrating because it misrepresents what actually happened, and it can impact how people perceive you professionally and personally. Joy Behar leans forward, a teasing smirk on her face. So, Matt, are you saying the media just likes to make celebrities look dramatic? Because that's definitely the impression a lot of people get. Matt chuckles lightly. It can definitely feel that way. Headlines are written to grab attention. Unfortunately, accuracy often takes a back seat. That's why it's important to address things directly when necessary. Whoopi Goldberg shakes her head with a grin. I mean, look at us. We love talking about these things, but we're careful here. You're getting a fair shake, Matt. Not everyone does. Sunny jumps in, trying to steer the conversation into a more detailed account. Matt, let's go into specifics. That scene everyone's been talking about. How did you and your co-star approach it to avoid tension while still delivering the emotional intensity the director wanted? Matt leans back slightly, recalling the day. We rehearsed a lot. There were a few takes where timing was off, or the emotions didn't hit the mark. That's completely normal. We discussed it, adjusted, and moved on. Nothing dramatic, nothing unprofessional. Just collaboration. Joy tilts her head, unconvinced. So there wasn't even a moment where you felt like yelling or stomping off. Not even a tiny bit of frustration. Matt shakes his head. No, frustration is different from acting out. Everyone wants the scene to succeed, so you channel your energy into finding a solution, not creating a story for the tabloids. Sunny nods, turning toward the camera. This is why live talk shows are so valuable. Getting the truth straight from the source, not just reading about it online. Whoopi leans in, chuckling. I gotta say, Matt, it's refreshing to hear honesty like this. No spin, no theatrics. Just the facts. Matt smiles faintly. That's all I can offer. What actually happened? The audience reacts with a mixture of applause and laughter, clearly appreciating the candor. Sunny takes the moment to probe further. Okay, Matt, let's address the rumors themselves. Do you think part of the problem is that people like drama, so even minor disagreements get exaggerated? Matt nods thoughtfully. Exactly. Drama sells. But reality is often much more mundane. On-set conversations, adjustments to a scene, differing opinions, they're all part of the creative process. The public often interprets it as conflict when it's really just collaboration. Joy crosses her arms, her tone playful but insistent. So the lesson here is, don't believe everything you read about Hollywood. But Matt, what about the co-star involved? Did they ever comment on the story? Matt shrugs lightly. We both stayed professional. The co-star has their own platform to share their perspective, and we let them. I focused on clarifying my side, which is all about context and truth, not pointing fingers. Sunny nods approvingly. That's fair. Now, Matt, I know we've talked a lot about professionalism, but let's talk about the human side of this. How does it feel when your reputation is misrepresented like this? Matt's expression softens slightly. It's frustrating. It's one thing if it's about a scene or a movie, but when it starts affecting how people perceive your character as a person, that's different. You want people to see who you really are, not just the story someone wrote. Whoopi leans back with a grin. So this is about setting the record straight, but also about protecting your humanity. I like that. Matt nods. Exactly. Everyone deserves that chance. Sunny presses on, eager to explore the dynamics further. Matt, let's get into the tension part. Some viewers love to see drama on set. How do you balance that with professionalism while still keeping the energy real on camera? Matt leans forward, hands clasped. It's about focus. The intensity of a scene comes from the characters, not the personal feelings of the actors. You give your all to the performance, and you let the story carry the drama. Off camera, professionalism keeps the collaboration healthy. Joy smirks, leaning in. So, no theatrics for effect, no dramatic exits, no shouting matches? You're really killing the gossip industry here, Matt. Matt chuckles. I know it's not as entertaining as headlines, but that's reality. I think people appreciate honesty once they see it. Sunny nods. Absolutely. And I think this transparency is why people love hearing from you directly. Let's pivot slightly. How do you think these kinds of rumors affect the people around you, your co-stars and crew? Matt's expression becomes serious. It can create unnecessary stress. People might feel like they're under scrutiny for something that didn't happen. That's why I always try to be clear about what actually occurred. Respecting everyone's reputation is part of the job. Whoopi chuckles. So you're not just correcting your story, you're protecting everyone else too. That's commendable. Matt nods. Exactly. No one deserves to be misrepresented. Sunny turns toward the audience, smiling. There you have it, folks. Matt Damon giving us a masterclass in professionalism, honesty, and setting the record straight, all while staying calm under scrutiny. And don't go anywhere. After the break, We'll hear more about behind-the-scenes stories that might just surprise you. The audience claps, some whistling in approval. Whoopi leans toward Matt with a grin. I gotta say, you make staying calm look easy. I'm taking notes. Matt laughs quietly, shaking his head. Just part of the job, Whoopi. The camera pans over the cheering audience as the energy in the studio continues to build, setting the stage for the final, revealing segment of the show. The camera cuts back to the studio after the break, the audience buzzing with anticipation. Sunny Hostin leans forward, her voice carrying a mix of excitement and seriousness. Welcome back to the Star Talks. If you've just joined us, Matt Damon has been setting the record straight about on-set rumors that had everyone talking. Now it's time to wrap things up and talk about the aftermath. Matt smiles faintly, settling into his chair. Thanks, Sunny. I think it's important to not just clarify the story, but also talk about what happens after these rumors circulate. Joy Behar leans forward, curiosity piqued. So, Matt, once the story hit the tabloids, how did people react? Friends, co-stars, the public. Matt nods. Honestly, it was a mix. Some people reached out privately to check in. Others were surprised by how quickly the story spread. Social media amplified it a lot. But the overwhelming response has been positive once people saw my side of the story. Whoopi chimes in, a grin on her face. I have to say, Matt, it's refreshing to hear the calm version of events. Usually, the aftermath is all drama and Twitter storms. Matt chuckles softly. I've seen enough Twitter storms to last a lifetime, he says, earning laughter from the audience. But seriously, the real aftermath is about people understanding the truth. Once the facts come out, the narrative changes, and that matters. Sunny leans in, her tone probing but fair. And what about the co-star involved? Did they comment publicly, or was it mostly private conversations behind the scenes? Matt shakes his head. Mostly private. We respected each other's professionalism. We didn't feel the need to make it a public debate. But again, I wanted to clarify my side so there was no misunderstanding about what actually happened. Joy tilts her head. And did this change the way you handle media interactions moving forward? Matt nods thoughtfully. Absolutely. It reinforced the importance of addressing things directly when necessary, and of keeping communication clear. Sometimes silence can let misinformation spread, so being transparent is key. Sunny turns to the audience, her expression warm. And that transparency is exactly why we love having conversations like this on the Star Talks, getting the real story, not just the headlines. The audience applauds, some whistling in approval. Whoopi leans toward Matt, whispering with a grin. You just made honesty look like an art form, you know that? Matt laughs quietly. I try, he replies. Sunny shifts the conversation toward social media, sensing the importance of the topic. Matt, the internet can be brutal. Did you see reactions online once you spoke out? Matt nods. Yes, and it's a mixed bag. There were plenty of supportive messages, which was great. But there's always someone ready to twist things or argue for the sake of engagement. That's why it's important to stay grounded and not let the noise dictate your perspective. Joy smirks. Sounds like you've got a thick skin, Matt. Or at least learn to develop one. I think you have to in this industry, Matt replies. You can't let every rumor or negative comment affect you. Focus on the work, focus on the truth, and let the rest fall into perspective. Sunny nods, turning to the camera with a smile. There you have it, folks. Matt Damon, honest and candid, breaking down Hollywood rumors, professionalism, and the power of truth. But before we go, let's talk about what happened after the show aired. Matt smiles, a hint of relief in his expression. After the episode, the response has been overwhelming in a positive way. People appreciated hearing a first-hand account. Co-stars and colleagues reached out to show support, and I think it helped clear the air on set for everyone. Whoopi grins. See, truth does have a way of making people breathe easier. Sunny nods. And the social media response? Was it as intense as the original rumors? Matt chuckles softly. It was quieter, more thoughtful. People seemed genuinely interested in understanding the full story, not just gossiping. That's encouraging. Joy leans back, smiling knowingly. So maybe this is a teachable moment, not just for Hollywood, but for the public too. Don't believe everything you read. Sometimes the truth is way less dramatic than the story. Matt nods. Exactly. And that's why I'm glad we could have this conversation today. Sunny looks at the camera, her voice warm and engaging. And that wraps up this incredible segment of the Star Talks. Matt Damon, setting the record straight, sharing insights, and reminding us that honesty and professionalism always matter, no matter how loud the rumor mill gets. The audience erupts into applause, some cheering loudly. Whoopi turns to Matt, chuckling. You've just taught a masterclass in staying cool under pressure. I think everyone watching can take a note or two. Matt laughs quietly, shaking his head. Thanks, Whoopi. I just wanted to tell the truth. Sunny smiles at the camera. And that's exactly why you tune in to the Star Talks. Real stories, real conversations, and the truth from the source. Share your opinion in the comments and subscribe to the Star Talks for more real talk show stories. The camera pans across the clapping audience, the hosts sharing smiles with Matt Damon as the energy in the studio winds down. The show closes on a note of authenticity, leaving viewers with a clear understanding of the story behind the headlines and the importance of hearing from the source.